Perplexity AI is on a mission to redefine how you get accurate and reliable answers whenever you're searching for information. Perplexity AI dubs itself as an answer engine that uses large language models to deliver accurate answers to complex questions. And in today's comprehensive tutorial, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to make use of this pretty exciting and useful AI tool. Prepare to level up and let's get right into it. Head over to perplexity.ai. Just a note for this tutorial, I'm going to be using Perplexity Pro, as from testing out the tool, it became clear that the people that will benefit most from Perplexity would likely be doing so in a professional or academic setting, as we'll uncover throughout the video. On the home page, you'll find a collapsible nav bar that contains additional links to the Discover page and your library, all features I'll be going through today. But for now, let's learn by doing and ask Perplexity a question. When you click into the search box, you'll be greeted with suggested searches that sometimes make for fun browsing on the internet, and these are updated daily. But for now, let's ask it how X-rays work. And just like that, you're greeted with a pretty comprehensive and seemingly factual answer. Despite the simple interface, there is a lot going on this page, and let's take some time now to dive into the many features that really make Perplexity shine as an answer engine. At the very top, you have the sources Perplexity used to give you back your answer. And if you'd like even more in-depth reading, you can actually click into a source and read additional information there. To the right of our answer, you notice it also gave us images that help answer our question. And there's also a search for videos feature and a generate image feature, which we'll take a look at further on in the video. Now, beneath our answer actually lies some pretty powerful features. First, clicking the share button copies the link to this exact same thread. What are threads, you may ask? Every time you run a search in Perplexity, it creates a new thread, which then gets added to your library, as you can see on the left. I'll dive more into the library in the next little bit. Supposing you didn't like the answer it first gave you, you can actually just simply click Rewrite and then select a different model. This is a truly powerful feature, as you're able to select models such as GPT-4 used in the latest ChatGPT, Claude 2.1 by Anthropic, or Gemini Pro, which was recently released by Google and still in beta. So let's rewrite this answer using Claude 2.1 and see what we get. And just like that, we have a different answer. So even though the facts about X-rays may still be the same across models, each model has its own way of interpreting your question, answering it, and formatting it in a way it thinks makes the most sense to the user. And just a quick note, to the right of your answer, you will see what model is being used. Next is a seemingly simple but pretty powerful button, the View Sources button. When you click View Sources, you once again are able to see all the sources referenced to give you your answer. However, in this case, supposing I didn't want YouTube to be a part of the knowledge source used, I can simply delete YouTube from my sources, click Done, and then Perplexity will regenerate my answer, omitting the YouTube source. Pretty incredible. And moving on from sources, next is the copy button to simply copy your answer to the clipboard. And lastly, the edit query button, which simply lets you rewrite your original ask. I'll cancel out of that for now and scroll all the way to the bottom of our answer, to the related section. As I'd mentioned earlier, the related section really is a fun place to just go down rabbit holes of knowledge. For example, you can then ask Perplexity what are the different types of X-rays, after which it goes on to give a good and well-formatted answer on the several types of X-rays. Okay, that was a basic overview of Perplexity AI, and now let's dive deep into the search focus features to really start to unleash the power of Perplexity AI and see where it shines against tools such as Google Search and ChatGPT. Back on the home page, if you click Focus, you'll notice there's 6 different focus modes, ranging from all to academic to writing, Wolfram Alpha, YouTube, and Reddit. I am going to take the time to quickly go through each one of these, as each really comes with its own set of unique differentiators and is where Perplexity seems to provide the most value for your money. I'm also going to activate CoPilot, which essentially helps you guide Perplexity to the exact answers you're looking for. And we'll get to see how it works throughout these examples. So our first search about X-rays was using the all focus mode, as that is the default mode. In the all mode, Perplexity searches the internet to provide you the best possible answer. But now let's home into the academic focus mode, which is a specialized search within scholarly articles and academic publications. I'll ask it, what are the most recent advancements in artificial intelligence in finance? And then hit enter. And then CoPilot steps in to guide us towards a more refined answer. Of course, I can ask it to be broad in the optional text field, but for this case, I'll tell it to zoom in on risk management. And then it goes on to give us a pretty comprehensive answer on how AI has significantly impacted the field of risk management in finance, covering areas such as AI integration in risk management processes, explainable machine learning for risk management, and so forth. And you'll notice it even throws in a cautionary paragraph at the end, letting us know that these advancements have the potential to revolutionize risk management in finance, but they also come with challenges such as data privacy concerns, regulatory compliance, and ethical considerations. Really cool stuff. Okay, next, let's test out the writing mode. The writing mode enables you to have a conversation and perform tasks with Perplexity without it accessing the internet. This is particularly useful when you're trying to generate code or pieces of text. For this example though, let's ask it to generate some code. I'm going to ask it to write me a simple program in Python that counts the letters in someone's name. CoPilot then steps in to ask us who'll be providing the name, us or the program itself. I'm going to say it's going to be user input, then hit send. And in the blink of an eye, you have a pretty simple but handy Python script that can prompt a user for their name and then counts the number of letters in their name. You also notice that it took the liberty to write the program in such a way that ignores any spaces in the user's name, so it'll correctly count the letters in both single word names and multi-word names. Very handy indeed. Okay, next is Wolfram Alpha. The search focus mode is designed for computational data and mathematical calculations. I'm going to paste in an example I found from Perplexity AI, and just like that, it provides us an answer to help us solve the equation. Moving on, let's try the YouTube search focus. This focus mode allows for targeted searches within YouTube, offering timestamps and the options to watch videos in the platform. So for example, we can ask Perplexity how to build a beginner gaming computer. Let's be honest, with prices these days, it's going to be over $1,000. Next, it asks us what specific games or game genres we want to play on our computer. I'm going to choose strategy games and simulation games, and then hit send. Before we dive into the answer, I'll take a moment to expand the CoPilot box just to give you a better sense of what it's doing in the background. As you can see, CoPilot took our inputs and then used those as keywords when it was searching YouTube for the best possible answer, after which it then found 24 different sources to help provide our answer. I can't even imagine how long it would have taken to go through each and every one of these videos, and yet here we are just 10 seconds later. And I'm no computer building whiz, but reading through the answer, it genuinely does look like it knows what it's talking about. And supposing you need more context, you can simply click on any of the little number icons, which will take you to the video it referenced to provide the answer. Really awesome stuff. Okay, let's quickly look at the last focus mode, Reddit. This mode focuses on Reddit discussions and opinions, which of course there are plenty on Reddit, but it does help provide a streamlined experience that filters out irrelevant content. So for example, supposing I'm researching reviews on the iPhone 15 Pro, I can simply enter reviews on the iPhone 15 Pro in the Reddit focus mode. And for this one, I'm actually curious about everything, so let's select it all. And Perplexity then scours Reddit to provide the consensus answer on the camera, battery life, performance, design, and price of the iPhone 15 Pro. Really handy. Okay, so after that deep dive into the search focus modes, you are now well equipped to use Perplexity for whatever task you have at hand. Next, we're going to take a deep dive into the library and more specifically collections to see how you can easily stay organized in Perplexity AI. Before we get there though, I will make a quick detour on the Discover page. This page is so much fun as it is updated pretty frequently and allows you to discover search topics that are really interesting to dig into. And I would encourage you to use the Discover page as it does help you get more familiar and comfortable with using Perplexity AI. Okay, on the library page is where we'll find all those threads we just created. You can imagine after using this tool for a bit, you may have hundreds of threads. So how do you stay organized? Well, first things first, you can actually easily click the three little dots and delete all threads. Not a bad go when you just need a clean start sometimes. Clicking the plus icon actually allows you to start a new thread, just as you would on the home page. Now, where things get really powerful is the collections feature. So let's click Get Started. I'm going to make a new collection for meal prep, and I'm going to give it a food icon. The description is optional, but I'm going to enter meal ideas for the week. Now, this AI prompt section, while optional, is very handy as it allows you to give instructions to Perplexity that affect every thread in that specific collection. So think of this as custom instructions if you're more familiar with ChatGPT. So I'm going to let Perplexity know that it's a dietitian that's going to help me plan quick and easy to make nutritious meals. Before hitting create, you can also decide the privacy level of your collection, either by making it shareable so you can easily share a link with friends and family, or by making it secret. I'll leave it shareable for now and then click create. And just like that, my collection is now on the left. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it. And coming into the collection, you can already see that it has some suggested questions for me, which are actually pretty handy. So let's take the first question for a spin. What are some creative and nutritious meal prep ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And pretty quick, it gives us some seemingly easy to make breakfast, lunch, and dinner options. Very useful. And even at the end, it goes on to say these meal prep ideas are not only nutritious, but also convenient for those with busy schedules. Now, I'll go back to my meal prep collection and give it a more complicated question and see what it comes up with. I'll ask it to create a recipe that has 40 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber using chicken and vegetables, and also to make it spicy. It then goes on to give me a recipe with the ingredient list and the instructions to hit my desired macronutrient levels. And as you can see at the bottom, it gives us a nutritional information summary of the recipe. Now, for this recipe, let's try generate an image for it and see what comes up. So I'll hit generate image and then choose the photograph style. Wow, this is not a bad image at all. And if you squint your eyes hard enough, in the bottom right corner, you will see the little AI emblem noting that this image was generated by AI. Just a heads up, there are a couple times where I tried generate images in here and they don't really turn up. So your mileage may vary with this feature. Also, just a note, Perplexity's image generator really isn't meant to be used like tools such as DALL-E and Midjourney, and is more so meant for situations like this where you'd like to add a bit more context to your answer. Okay, heading back to our library, supposing I wanted to create a new collection to store some of the other threads we've done today. Well, that's very easy to do. Once again, we just hit the plus sign next to collections, and then enter our details. You can simply click the three dots on the bottom right of any thread, click Add to Collection, and then select the collection you'd like to add it to. At the time of recording, threads can only be in one collection at a time. Okay, moving on. Perplexity does a great job of reading files and images. So let's go through a couple examples to show you what I mean. We'll start by uploading this picture and then asking Perplexity AI to describe the image. And this is pretty wild. It correctly identifies that there are 4 individuals gathered around a wooden table in the picture. It also lets us to know that there's a man wearing a beanie and glasses sitting in the middle, and goes on to further describe the features of everyone else in the picture. It then goes to let us know what's on the table, such as a red cup, a blue cup, a glass jar with a spoon, and what seems to be a sugar container. Absolutely wild. Now, just for a bit of fun, I am curious to see what happens when you click Generate Image from an image. So let's try that and choose the photograph option once again. Okay, so this is both hilarious and absolutely creepy. It made a picture of 4 people sitting on a table, but they do seem to be a bit possessed. Anyway, moving on. Let's upload a CSV file to Perplexity and ask it to summarize it for any insights. Now, the CSV file contains a ton of hotel data, so the CoPilot steps in and asks us what it is exactly that we'd like summarized. I'll tell it to summarize booking patterns and general trends. It then proceeds to give us a pretty comprehensive overview of our uploaded file. For example, column 6 lets us know that most bookings are for 1 or 2 adults, with children and babies being less common. Now, of course, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and the purpose of this really is to show you the capabilities and not run a comprehensive data analysis. So now at this point, you should be pretty well equipped to do some pretty incredible stuff in Perplexity AI, and more specifically, Perplexity Pro if you have it. With that said, let's head over to our profile settings to go through some advanced but pretty handy features. On your account page, you can actually select the AI model you would like Perplexity to use as a default. So the default model is of course the one provided by Perplexity, which is pretty fast. However, if you have a preference such as GPT-4 or Claude 2.1 or even Gemini, you can easily select it from this screen here, and all your future searches will be using that model by default. The next handy feature here is if you switch to your profile tab, you can also give it custom instructions that the AI should know. And once again, if you use ChatGPT, this is akin to the custom instructions there. As an example, I'll let it know that I'm someone that prefers brief and well-structured answers in a bullet point format. And you know what? I will enter my location as its suggested location, Boulder, Colorado, and then hit save. When you do that, follow-up questions are then brought into the mix. For example, it'll ask you about your professional skills, your favorite outdoor activities, and stuff like what kind of music you like. These questions are designed so that Perplexity can get a better understanding of the type of answers it thinks you'd like to see the most. However, you don't have to fill out any of this information, and you can easily skip it. Just a note, if you do enter anything here, it does affect all your new threads. So sometimes I'd say it's better to use collections versus this global setting, but your mileage may vary. Let's quickly take our new settings for a test drive, and I'll ask it to describe how satellites work. And as you can see, for such a pretty broad topic such as how satellites work, it gave me a pretty brief and well-structured answer in bullet point format, exactly what I asked for. And to turn off the custom instructions, you can simply go back to your profile and then hit clear. Or you can also hit pause at the top of the page. Before we touch on some prompting tips, I'm going to take just a quick minute to head over to the playground. This is pretty much just a fun place where you can have a conversation with different AI models, both from Perplexity and other providers. So for example, using Perplexity's default 7B online model, I'm going to ask it to tell me about the matrix. And just like that, it gives us an answer. But supposing I prefer to use another model, let's pick Llama 2 and ask the same question and see what sort of answer we get there. As you can see, Llama provides a more essay-type response, whereas Perplexity provided a more straight-to-the-point and business-like answer. Really, really cool. Okay, let's look at some prompting tips. For this section, I'm actually not looking to reinvent the wheel, and Perplexity actually recently released a very handy blog on some prompting tips. So I will just take a moment to walk you through that. First of all, the anatomy of a prompt. The prompt should seamlessly blend your goal and background into an easy-to-read sentence. It should contain keywords which better guide Perplexity to give you the right answer, and the formatting is an important aspect to give you good results. So for example, supposing you're using Perplexity for market research, you can let it know that you're a product manager and need a summary of market trends for electric bikes in the US. And in this case, the keywords Perplexity picks up most on are market trends, electric bikes, the US, and product manager. They then have a few other examples on the page. So for example, supposing you're a student writing an essay, You can then let it know that you're a student aiming to excel in your psychology paper and need an essay outline on the effects of social media on mental health, with your keywords in that ask being essay outline, social media, mental health, and student. Very, very handy resource. If you'd like to read this more in depth, I will link it down below, as it is a great resource to help you structure your prompts depending on your goal. Awesome job making it this far in. At this point, you should now be able to save hours of your life from trudging through horrible search results on Google and being able to use Perplexity to get the answers you need in a fraction of the time. In terms of some key takeaways, Perplexity is an answer engine and not a search engine or even chatbot. So you kind of do have to approach this a bit differently than you'd approach Google or even ChatGPT. Perplexity seems to be more accurate with academic and factual information and is a great resource for those type of settings. When using this AI tool, make sure you choose the right focus mode to really increase your efficiencies. Also, use collections to stay efficient and organized. I'd love to hear how you've been using Perplexity AI or Perplexity Pro down in the comments below. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one.